The national inquiry will be rigged.
So, for those who are from Rochdale will understand, because I've been telling them for years, that Rochdale and the problems in over the border in Oldham are hand in hand. They're the same people, they're the same areas. And I'm going to bring someone up now to speak to you who knows a lot more about Oldham's problems than we do, as much as we do about Rochdale. So please give a Rochdale welcome and a nice loud applause to Sir Miah. Thank you. Miah, ladies and gentlemen.
We made this political 7 years ago, and it's took us 7 years to force this to where we currently are, which is on the verge of a national inquiry. The national inquiry will be rigged. Make no mistake about it whatsoever. And if you're following what's taking place with the Minister for Safeguarding Girls, that's the title, the Minister for Safeguarding Girls, a woman called Jess Phillips, everything she has shared so far has demonstrated that they will try and rig the inquiry. Now, the reason why it matters to you, to me, is that we have forced, by making it political, and people say to me, oh, there's only a handful who turn up to these events. It doesn't matter. The entire nation is behind us on this. And those who aren't are the ones who are either complicit in what took place or benefited from what took place. And so there is no ambiguity. And in the past, they've arrested me for more or less these words, as a racist, but we forced the government, Baroness Casey, to admit to these words. These were racially motivated crimes. In the main, an overrepresentation of Pakistani men, gang raping and trafficking little white working class girls across this country. And never forget that. Because one of the things that they're trying to do with the national inquiry is change and expand the remit so it looks at child abuse in its entirety. Well, let me share with you what makes this specific type of child abuse very different from all the others. And that doesn't mean we don't care about all the others. Those arguments that those people make, they're ridiculous. Of course, every one of us cares about the abuse of children. But there is something that makes this specific type of abuse very, very distinct. Your children were sold for votes. Yeah. No ambiguity whatsoever. Your children, our children, were sold for votes.
How dare they? How dare they?
These men infiltrated the Labour Party. Worked out that the drug dealing, hand in hand with the gang rape of children, would be ignored. They had immunity because of the sackfuls of postal votes that they provided to the politicians. And in the first instance, what these people did, the politicians, the councils, they bribed them with their community centres. Why do you think you have names called a Bangladeshi community centre, a Pakistani community centre? What would happen if you created something called a white community centre? There'd be a front page article on The Guardian condemning you as racists and far right. So they first of all bribed them with these community centres in the 70s and the 80s. But they weren't satisfied with that. And I say this not to criticise, but so to educate. The communities that I come from are run by cartels. They're run by gangsters, and they're run by very, very powerful individuals whose immediate family members, on one hand, are businessmen who launder money. On the other hand, drug dealers, convicted drug dealers, they drive up and down the streets in fancy Ferraris. These are councillors, these are politicians. In broad daylight, their immediate family members and members of the grooming gangs, the cousins, they don't care. A couple of months ago, Lord Ali, Rotherham, heard of him? Him and his brother raped 2 boys. Yeah, they raped boys. Finally convicted. He gets out of prison. He's hanging out in that new pyramid thing in Stockport for a Dubai property fair full of Pakistanis. Next to him, Afzal Khan, the MP. Can you imagine if you're an MP, a senior government MP, walking through a corridor on friendly basis with a man who's just come out of prison for raping little boys? They don't care because they know that the votes they provide give them protection. It is no more complicated than that, and you're seeing it play out now. Not just on the issue of the grooming gangs, you're seeing it play out on so many other issues. And it doesn't make a single one of us racist. You know why? Because there are people in those very communities who hate these people as well, but they are powerless. They are powerless to speak out, just as so many others here are powerless to speak out. I was asked earlier, where are all the men here? Where are all the other people here? How many of you know that if you came and stood alongside me, the police would knock on your door? Your employer would call you into a meeting. You'd lose your job. Your daughter, a friend of mine, a lady who follows my work, phoned me up crying last week. My daughter, who's now graduated with a politics degree, won't speak to me anymore because she thinks I'm a racist because I listen to you. This is what we are fighting against, and it will take us a generation more to get to where we need to get to, which is cleanse this cancer from out of our country.
Yes.
So the grooming gang public inquiry will be a cover-up. They are about to appoint a chair. My information is, of the 2 that they've shortlisted, the preference does not even have a legal background. It's not a judge, it's not a barrister, it's not anyone with a legal background, it's someone they can manipulate. Even the Guardian newspaper last week ran an article, and the Guardian hates us and hates everything we stand for. The Guardian ran an article that essentially said that the government have already determined the terms of reference and no judge will agree to front it. This is not how a national inquiry is meant to work. It's illegal. It's unlawful. You have Rupert Lowe, the independent MP. I am supportive of Rupert Lowe. I don't care if he's reform, if he's advance, anyone who stands on the side of wanting to stop the gang rape of children, I will stand alongside. Whatever political differences we might have, I can deal with them afterwards. But first of all, we stop the raping of our children, and we stop those who benefit from raping our children.
Well said.
The Labour Party last year wrote to me. They threatened to sue me. They threatened to sue me because I named politicians. So everywhere I go, I name politicians and I challenge the Labour Party to sue me, and I'll see them in the High Court. I am not a wealthy man. I live in a very small apartment with my child. If I lose it, I lose everything. But you know what I will not lose? The ability to look in the mirror and see what looks back at me.
Well fucking said.
The names of the politicians that I know are involved in the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of my town's children include the now MP, Jim McMahon. James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon. MP. Angela Rayner MP.
Shame on you.
Andy Burnham, the Greater Manchester Mayor. Burnham hides behind his Twitter account called Name the Place, Andy Burnham. I will show the entire nation every bit of evidence that demonstrates your role in the cover-up of the industrial scale gang rape of this nation's children. The government will announce next week, is my information, the chair of the National Inquiry. I will release a series of documents that demonstrate, that have been sat on, how it is rigged and what we must do to hold them to account. Do not lose hope when it's rigged. Just know that it's another step in the journey to where we need to go. And so we understand where we need to go. It is justice for the survivors, prison time for those who committed the crimes, and even more prison time for those who are complicit in the cover-up. So please, please, please keep coming to these events. Our numbers have grown far greater than they've ever been. And our voice now, what we talk about now that they once deemed to be far right and extremist, is now echoed in Parliament almost word for word, and that's only happened because of every one of you, and for that I will be ever grateful. When I started this, I was petrified that I would be standing alone. I'm not standing alone. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Well done, Raj.
Welcome here, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Miah. It's not easy to get up here and say this type of stuff about being persecuted by those on the other side. This man has put his head way above the parapet to do so. So he's not just he's loved in Rochdale, he's loved in Oldham, but he should be loved all around the country. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Miah.
Yes.
I'm going to